Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy over here is Evil Mike, or Mike if you have a problem with the evil part. I'm okay with either or. This is going to be my reviews of some more comics that were released on July 28, 2021. This is part 3. I have another 5 comics for you, so let's get to it. First up from DC, this is Infinity Frontier, issue number 3 of 6. I'm really loving this. It is an event. I mean, it's not really titled as one. There's no tie-ins, but technically there are. They're just kind of woven into some of the other DC properties. But I mean, this picks up right where the last events, left us. They give you like a brief little, catch up in the form of like newspaper clippings of what's going on. We have JSA headquarters Gotham destroyed, mysterious dark UFO seen in the skies of Phoenix, origins of explosion in Metropolis. Okay, so the JSA has exploded, and that's the whole the Alan Scott Green Lantern and Black Obsidian part of the story. The Black UFO part is the new Black Lantern, which is Roy Harper, Arsenal. I mean, he has been resurrected due to the events of the Death Metal series. The origin of at Metropolis explosion, base under wraps. That was Captain Atom trying to get the hell away from Chase, Cameron Chase, because she was trying to basically arrest him and bring him under custody because he was not on the Earth that he was supposed to be on. In that explosion, it shows that Chase might have died, supposedly, and basically what is going on in the multiverse, because right now it is a lot of craziness going on in the multiverse. So we are catching up with father and son. For people that don't know, this is Alan Scott, the first Green Lantern, and his son, Black Obsidian. I do not know a lot about Black Obsidian, but basically they are looking for Black Obsidian's daughter. They don't reference it as Alan's Scott daughter, so I'm not sure if they're like, different moms or something. I'm not sure. They do interrogate different villains trying to find Jade, and they realize that they've been after the wrong villains. They've been going after like Alan Scott villains, and that they should have been going after Black Obsidian villains. So that's kind of where that story is going to head into. Next up, we're catching up with Roy Harper, which is, the last issue he put on. He was chosen by the Black Lantern Ring and resurrected. He is seeing like bits and pieces of his life, and as he's seeing them, he's kind of using them to try and take back hold, because he was turning into like a zombie and losing his mind type thing. He's realized that now he's kind of in space and he doesn't really know what to do. He's happy that the ring is giving him the power to survive, because he just kind of woke up in space. He figures, he kind of, being a superhero, and he's been dead for a while, but he kind of knows that the Earth is busy enough where somebody will come along, and sure enough, somebody comes along. We'll get back to that. Last issue with the main, I forget what they are called. You'll have to give me a second here. The Justice Incarnate, with Captain Superman and a bunch, Captain Carrot, and I'm pretty sure I think that's his name, Captain Carrot. But anyways, we saw them approached by a reformed Magog. He is in control of this Earth 22, and it's not a bad version of Magog. Magog is one of those like Darkseid, or a threat level type of enemy. But this version, he's just trying to protect his Earth, and he kind of expresses that multiverse. He's realized that the multiverses have been shifting, and people have been coming to his planet, and every time they come, it's a bunch of bad stuff. So at this point, he's trying to get rid of anybody that's showing up. Captain Superman, he's trying to express that he just wants to examine the ship and try and figure out why it crashed. Thomas Wayne, which is the Flashpoint Batman, he is with the Justice Incarnate. He's kind of been tagging along, but they're trying to figure out how he's associated with it as well. but he kind of comes up with a thing from Flashpoint that Flash was able to, he was able to recognize different vibrations from different multiverses. So they're trying to do that. They do find out that it's related to Captain Superman's Earth. I don't remember which one it was, what Earth. I don't remember. There's so many different Earths. But basically, that's where that part of the story is headed to. The investigation is leading to back to Captain Superman's Earth, where he's from. They do show what Barry's kind of going through, and they do this whole retro like coloring and art style. I love it. It's such a callback to those earlier comics. But they do show what's really going on, and it's this villain, and he has Flash and this like, evil-looking treadmill, and basically he thinks he's in the Speed Force, and he's supposed to be like catching up to save him. They do show the villain's face and everything without the mask and everything. I think his name is Checkmate, but I'm kind of confused because I thought that was like the group's name too, was Checkmate. I don't know, that might not be his name. They don't say it in this issue, so but I'm pretty sure that's him because I've seen that gold, and they show it again right here, like the gold mask. But they go back to Black Obsidian and Alan Scott and more of the investigation, and they do come across like this facility, and they find Dr. Bones, and he's Director Bones, and he's kind of trekking around, and they know to follow him. They do find this ship that's able to travel through multiverses, and they hear mentions of stuff like prison cells and stuff like that. They are quickly, I don't know who this girl is, but they are quickly found out, and guards, approach and everything, and there's a huge fight that ensues. We do find out that Cameron Chase, we're not sure if it's the Cameron Chase that died, but a version of Cameron still exists, and they quickly take out and capture both, Alan Scott and Black Obsidian. Here we see what happened to the Black Lantern Roy Harper, and he was picked up by, he gives his name, but he's a older Justice League bad guy, and Roy Harper, he just not being that familiar with the Green Lantern world and everything, and doesn't recognize that it's a villain, and they kind of trick, they capture him for a moment, but like right at that same moment, somebody attacks the ship they're on. He gains his powers back, so he does fight back, and he escapes and everything. And we do find out it is the Infinity Incorporated, which they're looking for Jade. That's the girl right here, and we see like this Hot Mama Power Girl and Hellcat and some other people I'm not familiar with. But it looks like we're going to get to see who the Infinity Frontier is. It was a really good read. Next up, we got Batman, a Black Label, book number 2, Batman Reptilian. Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp. I can say one thing, I'm not a big fan of this art style. It's more this abstract, left to your imagination kind of horror style to it. It reminds me a lot of Arkham Asylum, and that's a great book and everything, but I can definitely say it's not a read that I can give everybody. They're going to be like, what is this? Well, what kind of Batman? And you'll see as we go through. But basically, Batman is on this trail of this new looking villain. They keep hinting that it might be Killer Croc or like a mutated version of Killer Croc, but they're not quite sure. In the first scene, like all this red paneling is basically this scene that Batman has come across, and it's like Penguin dying. I mean, he has been like half eaten, and we kind of find out, and there's some comparisons with like great white sharks and other animals that have a tendency to attack human type things. But we find out that it's like this new enemy or monster or whatever it is has a thirst for blood, but like once it's kind of like looking for something, and if you don't have it, it basically takes a chunk out of you and then just tosses you aside. Depending on your interaction with it, once it grabs you is how viciously it kind of latches onto you. So Penguin was kind of pretty messed up when other people just might have got a small bite type thing. We do find out that it's after estrogen, and I don't know if I don't know. I mean, I have thoughts, but that's all we know that the creature is looking for is estrogen, specifically in the blood. We do see some really cool scenes like this right here, this whole dialogue bubble. of like this guy tricking one of like a low level henchman into like giving up intel about where Joker is and some other stuff. It's a really like this part of the book I really love, like in the abstract work. I mean the don't listen to me and say like the abstract art doesn't, it works for the book, but I mean like if I had to choose like if I could see everything, yeah, I'd want to see everything. And the abstract art is beautiful. It's very wonderful art. I don't even know how that they're able to draw like this, because I mean, it's like this, you know, just looking at Batman like that, it's a very different take, and it's almost like if I was acid tripping, you know, something like that. I can imagine this would, kind of how if I was reading, a regular Batman book, it would kind of like I'd be like, but it's not bad. It's just a different style of art, different style of writing. They do leave a lot of it up to your imagination. But basically, the rest of the book is we're following, Batman, and he's tracking down other people that might be, future victims. And he basically, on the cover they show it, but he's looking for Mr. Freeze. And they do find him, and he's down in the sewers. Whoever this thing is, it has captured Mr. Freeze, and it has broken him so badly that all his legs and legs and arms are broken. His fingers are broken, and he's hurting pretty bad. Asking Batman to please call an ambulance type thing. Basically, in a nutshell, that's kind of where it is. And the next issue is like leading to to Batman tracking down the Joker and Killer Croc. So looking forward to issue number 3. Next up, another Batman book. Batman Detectives Comics number 1040. And I mean, DC is killing it. All these DC books have been really good read, really good art, different art, but really good read. I will say this does, I did a review recently of Man-Bat, the short 5-issue miniseries. This does directly tie into that miniseries. That's kind of why I did the review of that series lately, so check that out. But basically this is following the same events that's been going on with the series, and recently during the Worth, kind of murder mystery thing that due to his daughter dying, Worth is blaming Bruce Wayne and Batman for the death of his daughter. We know it's not Bruce Wayne or Batman, but he was being investigated, and a couple issues back he was locked up. Mr. Worth eventually bombs the building basically, and Bruce Wayne has to escape to save his life type thing. Mr. Worth does this whole thing where he fights him and follows him and fights him and that kind of thing. And most comics they just leave it where like Bruce Wayne would have never gone back to jail, but like right here we do see that Bruce Wayne is turning himself back in. He's basically not trying to draw any more attention to him after everything that he's been involved with lately and implicated in and blah blah blah. He's been going through a lot. For those of the uninitiated in the Batman world, Batman is not a billionaire currently. He is kind of like a low-level millionaire, I would say, but he does not have the Bruce Wayne mansion. Currently, the spoiler, if you don't know this, but Alfred is dead. A lot has been happening in the Batman world, so if you're not up to date, I've done previous reviews. I would just go back the weeks and find Batman Detective Comics, and I'll catch you right up. So we are with Bruce Wayne. He's turning himself in. He gets in contact with Oracle, which is Barbara Gordon. The eyes in the skies type thing, and he tells her, hey, she quickly hey, I'm going to make sure they find all the evidence, and not falsified evidence, but make sure that they find the evidence quicker to get you out of there. She knows he's innocent. He has proof that he's innocent, but the way the government tends to work, they're a little bit slow, I would say. So she kind of just moves it along a little faster. And we are caught up with, and I'm drawing a blank, bad with names, but this woman was recently attacked by Bile and controlled by the villain that is Vile. Also, at the same time, Huntress was infected by her as well. We find out that both of them were fine, that whatever Vile did to them is gone and done, and they're back to being healthy. this woman does remember, vaguely what went down, and we find out that Huntress, kind of took off, and it kind of tells you that if you want to follow Huntress, pick up Batman Secret Files Huntress #1, which that'll be in my next reviews if you're curious. So next up, we get back to Bruce Wayne in jail, and he is having a nice conversation with a drunkard who is in jail, and he reveals this it was a simply badass story about how he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And he goes into great detail, and Bruce Wayne at first is like, oh, that's what everybody says, but this guy says, no, let me tell you the story. And he goes into detail about this one night he was working as a security guard, and sure enough, and some of the best art in the book, we get classic 90s Batman and Joker fighting it out. And this guy was working security, and he sees this thing go down, and he's just trying to get the hell out of there because he's lived in Gotham a while, and he knows how Batman and Joker get down. And he tells this story about how he's trying to get on this fire escape, and it's a lot harder to do in real life than it is like in movies or comics. And he's struggling and struggling. Eventually he does make it up on the roof, and like most regular people would do, he runs and cowers, and hopefully just the two will pass on to some other buildings or something like that. But after a while he does end up falling asleep trying to stay hidden on top under some air ducts. And lo and behold, after the whole thing, Joker has been captured, sent to Arkham, and Batman is up on the rooftop, and he's taking a much needed break after the massive battle that ensued. And right before his eyes, he ends up taking off his cowl, thinking he is alone. The guy even makes a comment in the story about how he thought Batman had all these like the ESP, or this like bat ESP, or this this super badass technology in his cowl, where he would know if someone was around him. So he really thought Batman knew he was there. But then when he revealed that he took his cowl off, he was like, oh shit, Batman doesn't know I'm there. And so he kind of watched and just listened, and Batman was kind of just talking to Alfred and trying to just take a break and move on to the next stuff. It kind of goes into this whole side story with in previous issues we have seen that Penguin and Mr. Worth are kind of tag teaming up to the organized crime side of it, trying to level up their status. We go back to Bruce Wayne, and it is the next morning, because he was kind of slated that he was going to stay in jail like the whole weekend or something like that. So we go the next morning, and then we get back with the drunkard, and Bruce Wayne wants to hear more from him, and the guy does not remember anything that he told Bruce Wayne. And honestly, he kind of tells Bruce Wayne to get the fuck off. He's like, man, why you keep talking to me, kind of thing. I don't know if that's like maybe a secret reference that guy might turn into like a villain or something like that, because they do show like shadowy stuff like right here where Bruce is, he's leaving jail because he gets he finally makes bail or whatever, and I don't even think he makes bail. I think they let him go due to lack of evidence or something like that. And they do show that guy in the shadows and stuff, so maybe he might show up later on, you never know. Maybe he was a villain and he was just kind of like laying low, like, hey baby, I know who you are, buddy, you better watch the hell out. We go back to Worth and Penguin, and they are setting up what we're kind of seeing in the future, that they are kind of building their own little militia, and we see like some other villains there. We see like King Orca, and we see like Bloodsport, who's going to show up in the Suicide Squad movie pretty soon, and he has been tied, he has shown up recently in the Suicide Squad comic, but they're kind of building their own little thing. They do show some that people are still after Bruce Wayne and Vile after what he did, kind of thing. And they do show you at the very end of this that Vile has been captured by Worth and Penguin, and that they have some kind of plans, maybe like a brainwashing type of scenario for Vile. They're going to use them like a weapon type thing. We go into the side story that is Man-Bat, and like I referenced you before, if you have not caught up with the Man-Bat series, it kind of like catches you up. They do in this comic really quick to catch you up to date, kind of thing. But basically it's plain and simple right here. It shows that Kurt Langstrom somehow, some way has died in between the events of that miniseries and all the way up into this comic. They do show us that it was the intelligent Man-Bat that we saw at the very end of Man-Bat, the series, that was going to join Justice League Dark. We do find out that that it explains real quickly that he was the Justice League Dark, and the last time they saw him was around the Tower of Fate, where Dr. Fate's base is, and he disappeared, kind of with the multiverse shift type thing. And all of a sudden he reappeared in Gotham, and when he came back, he was like back to his angry kind of man-bat type way, and he was just screaming out with Francine. We have seen before that him and Francine are definitely over, and they told each other that they would never see each other again. So, you know, Batman's kind of like, bro, you're messed up, you and we also see that something else in the multiverse has infected Man-Bat, that it's not just him and this ego, that something has crept into the in-between his ego, and we see it in all its glory and why Man-Bat died, but it is some kind of like alien symbiote type thing that just crawls and creeps its way out of Kurt Langstrom, something that he picked out of the multiverse. As you can see here on the side panel, that this thing starts talking, and it basically tells a story that it feeds off fear, and the like, once someone knows about it, it doesn't matter what you do to it, it will always be around as long as it is feared. This thing kind of messed up because it popped out and it's in front of Batman, and Batman's not afraid of anything no matter what you do, kind of thing. Batman quickly kills it, basically, like kind of batarangs it in the head. I mean, he doesn't really have the no killing thing as when it comes to monsters and demons and that kind of thing. And we do see, like, you know, that Kurt Langstrom wasn't fully dead at the moment, and he grabs this thing and like somehow is able to like grab it and suck it back into his body, and in doing so, that is like the final cause of the death of Man-Bat. There is some like you know, some very last minute, you know, words with Batman and Kurt Langstrom, and Batman finally, you know, approving of his actions, and telling him that he wasn't, you know, that his redemption, you know, he redeemed, he forgave him, kind of thing. That Batman finally did see him as a hero type thing. It is expressed that, you know, that no one could know what happened specifically, because if they did, that creature would be able to come back and he could cause some next level damage. He was already trying to. Yes, Batman is not afraid of much, but the whole world, oh god, and what he was capable of doing, it would have been like a Thanos level threat or Darkseid level threat type thing. They do show you that Francine does show up at Kurt Langstrom's gravesite after he is buried, with the invitation from Batman, so that there is not 100% resentment from her. But basically, that's where we leave off on Man-Bat. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do this whole Justice League Dark thing and maybe explain what he was infected with. Next up from Image Comics, Made in Korea, a wonderful series. Jeremy Holt, George Schaal, Adam Willett, wonderful series, man. It's one of those series that I didn't think I was going to get into, but as it goes into, I'm just more and more into it. It is about a artificially created android, you know, child that has been adopted by this Texan family. Its origins are from Korea. It was developed by Korea, and it's supposed to be like the ultimate creation. 2 issues into it, and the little girl's exploring like every girl, you know, would, and she has made some friends. They are not necessarily the greatest of friends, like you see here. They are playing with guns, and she is on the more rebellious track of growing up. Of course, she is an android. She has a little more, you know, advancement as far as like her technology is concerned, so she might be at a middle schooler or high school, you know, level of intelligence, compared to, you know, she looks like a preschooler. But we do see here that she's, you know, that she has good accuracy. The guys that she has become friends with, they are really just outsiders, and they're not really bad kids yet, but they kind of keep hinting that they are planning on doing something. We do get some interactions, like real life, with the parents, and the, you know, she's dropped off very late by her friends. Of course, her adopted parents are worried, you know, and they try questioning the friends and stuff. It is seen as like a threatening event to the android. Her name is Jessie, but there's a quick conversation with the mom and dad, and the mom and dad quickly come out to be like the enemies just based on their questioning. And it's a lot of that going into like, what were you doing? Why were you with those kids? Did they touch you? Type thing. And Jesse, the android, kind of takes it in like, why are you threatening my friends? Why would they touch me? And they're not really doing the whole explaining or because there's pop culture, there's mythos, there's fears, there's all kind of that stuff, and if you're just not aware of it, none of that stuff makes any sense. Like culture, race, religion. If you're not aware of it, it doesn't mean anything. We go back into the maker of the algorithm that created this android, and he is trying to get the android back. He has been failing because not only does he look like a homeless man, but he just doesn't have any kind of, he's lacking in communication and all kind of other stuff. Finally, he's getting help from a friend. He does finally make it into the family's home because they were real hesitant. This situation doesn't go out as planned. He still comes off because he tries resetting the android, that doesn't work. The android is very scared of him, and she takes off. The parents, it breaks on to a full-on argument, and where he is kicked out of the house because he said he was going to diagnose the android, and the mom is smarter and figured out that he is basically trying to steal the kid. She runs off and kind of ends up with her friends the next day, and they kind of are exploring more of her android side, and they kind of get her to use some of the superhuman side that android would have, and just when I got to this panel, I was like, holy crap, that's so cool. She's in this little bitty body, but super mega strong, and of course being an android and stuff. But they do kind of show her playing around and stuff, and then down here they kind of show more of the hinting of the evilness that is coming. They basically show you that she's going more into the rebellion side of the story, because that night she goes home and she cuts off her hair. She instantly takes off. It's kind of in the moment where the mom has just been not in the know, new parents and everything, but Jesse has not been going to school, so she's finally getting the communication from the school. At the same time, we see what the boys and Jesse were planning, and they are going big time, and they robbed a not only just anything, they robbed a military base using the little girl's android capabilities and technology. We do see some bags that are left at a location that is kind of hinting at something that is coming, because it looks like it's going full Columbine. These boys are getting ready for something kind of nefarious, and they have kind of tricked her into believing that they are doing the right thing because they are outcasts. But man, what a great story. I am running out of time, so hopefully I can finish this with Boom Comics, Berserker #4. Actually, a lot of this is a lot of what we've been seeing. It is still going on with them trying to piece together this company, whoever it is, they're trying to piece together who Berserker is. I think they call him O2. But it is a lot more in the backstory. In previous issues, we've already seen that he has already killed his father after he finds out what his father and his plans and blah, blah, blah. I think what this book is selected memories, and they're going back through. They're still trying to gain, the immortal part of it, because they want to make a super soldier type of a program in the government. It just goes into more of the viciousness that is Berserker, and when he was back there, an army shows up. His father leads him out to battle. They get tricked. They get led to the wrong location. While this happens, they are back at his village, and his mother ends up dying in the pursuing thing. Now, like I said, I think this is selected memories, because I think we've already seen 2 versions of this. I didn't go back and research this, but I think that's what we're seeing, because I remember I just remember different things already. We do see, because of that event, that he not only does he get pissed, but he leaves his father. Now, this is kind of what I'm talking about, because I remember him killing his father, and in this issue we see that he is left to these people that have killed his mother, and Berserker just walks off and he lets these guys kill his father. There is this thing right here that is mentioned in this, and I think that's why this memory is specific. but they call it the gift, and it is tossed in a well at the beginning of the story by his father. We find out here that he is done with this, that he basically lets these villagers kill himself, and this is like a clue onto the first time that he supposedly died, and we kind of see some of his resurrection stuff. At the very end of this book, we see this lady, this government lady has been talking to him. She kind of ends up at his house, and she looks like she's finally going to reveal some of the truths about why she's been investigating his memories. But that's all I got. I'm almost out of time. Like, comment, subscribe. Bam, made it in the time frame. Y'all have a good one. That's my 5 reviews. I'll be back.